Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Rockwood part number 95B in a 625 finish. The 95B is a flush pole. Just removing it from the packaging here so we can take a closer look at it. There it is. Really great looking finish on that polished chrome. Black infill on the cup behind it that's riveted down into place. The 95B is a quintessential flush pole. It's the flush pole. It's the Rockwood flush pole. It's the 95B. It's all synonymous is what I'm driving at. It's like saying the Rockwood 555. That's the flush bolt. It's the common flush bolt that you'll always see. So the 95B, here it is, available in, of course, all of the architectural finishes. And being Rockwood, they can entertain really a request for any finish. If you want antique nickel, they'll sure be the company to do it for you. These custom finishes. The finishes that we have listed in the site are going to be in no particular order. Well, US 10BE, a powder-coated dark brown oil-rubbed bronze equivalent, something complementary to oil-rubbed. 605 for polished brass, 606 for satin brass, 613 for oil-rubbed bronze. I skipped over 612, that's satin bronze. 622, that's going to be powder-coated black. 625, polished chrome. 626, satin chrome. They can't do, again, any finish really, and they almost encourage you to ask for special finishes. So where do you use a flush pole? You're going to use a flush pole when you have the desire for hardware that doesn't project off the face of the door, maybe something a bit more elegant in its look, whether you are going to be sliding or pulling a door. A 95B would work. You'll see them in pocket door applications where the hardware must be trimmed to the face of the door. You don't have room in the pocket for the door to slide in with all that hardware hanging off. You might be doing doors that are hung on pivots. I see flush poles like this and then offset pivots or even center hung pivots go together occasionally. I will see that same pivot or concealed hinge or regular butt hinges with a flush pole and then a roller latch. You need some way to keep the door in the closed position, and a roller latch would certainly handle that. But you'll very often see these in non-ADA compliant required applications. This is not ADA compliant. Rockwood does manufacture an ADA compliant version of this. Same concept, just a whole lot bigger. It's like 5-inch by 5-inch sort of preparation. There is a link below this video to a document called Product Template that will allow us to review the dimensional properties of the item. We can see that it is 2 11/16 overall width. It appears to be accurate. With an overall height of 4 3/16. That's accurate. It's going to have an overall depth of about 31/32 of an inch. That's way off. Oh, forgive me, I understand. I don't know what the overall depth is in terms of the template, but my tape measure is telling us that it's basically 3/4 inch, quite close to that. Now, there are also dimensional properties on there for your mortise prep, and they're saying they want a 2 13/32 wide mortise. I would have no problem with that at all. 2 13/32, so basically 2 3/8. That would be swell. The height, they want a 3 29/32 mortise, so basically 3 3/4 area, and I'd say that would be well and dandy, no problem. You can see that you don't have a lot of margin, however, from here to the end, so you're going to make that prep exactly what they want. Don't go any further than that. You might cheat at a 16th, but I see no reason to do that, and I see every reason not to do that, because those screws, those screw holes you see there and there with the included black colored screws, you don't want any play inside of the mortise. This needs to fit in, needs to secure itself. You will most certainly, because of the tiny margin around, square these corners ever so quickly with your chisel. Square those corners out and you'll be in good shape. If you're going to be ordering doors for these, either have the factory mortise for them, but more importantly, have the factory reinforce for them. Running those screws into particle board, you know, it's not proper at all. So I would have blocking done for the location of the flush poles. You know, especially if you're pulling it off of a roller latch, you're going to have, you know, pressure every single time you pull the door open in a roller latch application. Now, when it comes to prepping the door for this material, it's super easy. And really what's going to take the most time is to square the corners out when you do the preparation. My tool of choice certainly is a router, and I think that the router is the first or second best friend of any carpenter, with a caliper being the first or second best friend. I would encourage you to use a router. I would encourage you to make a template where you can create a template that you can clamp down to the door. You might get so fancy as to position the location of the unit off the side of the template so that you can margin the template to the edge of the door. You might even make it a long rectangle so as to margin it off the bottom corner of the door as well, so you never have to measure, not only not the back set, you don't have to measure that, but you don't have to measure bottom of door to the center line of the prep. So if you determine all of that stuff, you'd be in really good shape for doing that. And I could even envision how you might make a larger preparation in the width and then use filler pieces so that you can, you know, give yourself a back set when you need it. What back set will you put this at? I would probably be prone to put it at 2 3/4, or I should say, I would probably look to mimic what else is in the space, not only for a back set application, or location I should say, but a finished floor to center line so that your line of sight is uniform. We did a job one time many years ago where there was a hallway, literally 20 doors on each side, or 50 doors on each side. It was an incredibly long hallway in a government facility. And the shop had put the pairs of doors at an odd size. The lock locations were 3 inches lower. And the pairs of doors worked together, and they weren't too low for any standard. They were within the range of acceptability, but that line of sight did that, and it didn't look good. And indeed, we replaced those doors, and the reason was because they were a custom size, and rather than cut off the top of the doors, they cut off the bottom, which was easier, and that gave us a bad line of sight. And that was the problem with not first auditing what's happening in the rest of the space. So do indeed take an audit of what you're doing and proceed accordingly. There's also a link to a document called Product Brochure where you can review the 95B and its sister products. The 95A is a bit tinier of a flush pole. The 95R is cool, the round one. We don't sell that one often. The ADA compliant models are the BF97 and BF97L. Those are listed in the backside of that sort of application. The rest of the catalog is really handy because it will allow you to review these other products that are related to it. Those cylinder poles are nice. The 90 is nice. You might have an exterior door exit device. You don't want any trim on the outside because you know someone's going to come up and try to yank it off. Put a little cylinder pole out there right with your rim cylinder through it, and not much hardware hanging off there at all. The combination push and pull plates, the 91, 92, and 93 series, are neat. I supply those. I last supplied a pair of those, custom made, to a homeowner. She was refurbishing a bungalow built in the early 20th century. Double acting door, flat black suede powder coated, lugged so that there were lugs on one plate. The exterior plate, it was double acting, so there was really no exterior, with machine screws on the inside. Really gorgeous. Through bolted it naturally. The 94 DL, DLS, those are really handy. You don't see them often, but I do see those in school applications occasionally, where they've got some doors that are made with that concept of a cylinder to control your locking hardware and then the ability to pull the door open. Not handicap compliant though, so that would be a limited type application where you might see that. Actually, I see that big box stores and their emergency exits going out have no need to have those doors handicap compliant. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Rockwood products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I'm quite partial to Rockwood, and it's simply, well, it's a confluence of many reasons. First of all, the fit and finish on their material is always exceptional. Always. The caliber of their customer service is always exceptional. Always. Their tech support is the same. Their shipping lead times are prompt, reliable, and predictable. Dependable. I'd even go so far as to say is dependable, which is not a word that you use in the construction industry often. They're dependable. They do have a lead time. They're a manufacturer. They make things to order. These are not sitting on a shelf. Although they might be. This is a bad product. This might be sitting on a shelf. But much of what they sell is not. So plan accordingly. That link to the manufacturer's page will show you not only all of the products that we sell from Rockwood, but a link to the manufacturer's website. I'll link to their full product catalog for their core product line, their accessories, but then their architectural door pulls, their RM series of door pulls. If you have ever walked up to a restaurant, a bank, many high-end places that have a very noticeable curbside sort of street view that is to impress the front door of a country club. If you ever pulled on a set of handles that were 7 foot long, those could be Rockwood pull handles. Wood, stainless, brass or bronze, leather wrapped, rubber wrapped, a variety of options. Any questions on the 95B in a 625 finish or any other Rockwood product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.